couldn't believe it. And then she took me to the refrigerator. She took me to the refrigerator.
Been hooked ever since. On the
I
refrigerator or?
food never tasted like this before. On my first night, I heard the best music I'd ever heard in my life. I had the best sexual experience I've ever had in my life to that point. And I had the best munchies I ever had. And I said, this is gonna be crazy. Now, I didn't know 3 years later when I walked in to I had worked for the 72 initiative in 73. I had written this book about pot, about in the stone, the 1 to 10 scale, determining what you had, where you had, what the difference between a buzz, a mild high, very high, mildly stoned, very stoned, and stoned. For instance, the buzz was the first feeling you got from grass that something was different inside. And a mild high was a little bit more, munchies better than, love making a little bit better. By the time you got up to very stoned, you could get lost walking in the kitchen. And these are all the feelings I had about pot. Love making was 100% stone when you were very stoned. And then there was, after that, a stone, which there was no explanation. But this is all I ever thought pot was. And I wanted it legal because I didn't very much into cigarettes anymore. This man got me off of cigarettes in 1984.
That's another story.
That's another story.
I'm in the spring.
But I didn't know a word about the hemp. I didn't have the foggiest idea that this plant had ever been useful to anybody on the history of the planet, other than to smoke and get high, get the munchies, and listen to music, and have better sex. But she told me to smoke it and enjoy it, but she didn't tell me anything else. Captain Ed Adair took me to my first marijuana meeting in the state of California for the 74 initiative, which we failed to get on the ballot by about 20,000 signatures. But in 73, I went with him, and I heard Michael Aldridge, Todd Correa. If these names don't ring a bell, Todd Correa was the head of marijuana research in the United States government in 1966 and 67. He's a medical doctor, he's a psychiatrist.
Todd Nixon.
Under Nixon. He found out about marijuana, he was there, and he loved it. And Michael Aldridge had gotten his doctorate from the University of Buffalo, State University of Buffalo, New York, and lived longer. And then, for protein, the #1 vegetable protein on earth is soybean. It's been told to you. Actually, by far, the #1 protein, as usable protein in the body, is the hemp seed. By far, like 3 to 1 over soybean. Soybean doesn't act as well. People with tuberculosis can take, in Czechoslovakia, for instance, in 1956, they were giving marijuana seeds to people with tuberculosis, and they would beat the tuberculosis. It is the finest medicine. It's a fine food. It's the highest in protein of anything that there is on earth when it comes to usable protein. That was in second highest or third highest. But 9 weeks ago, I had a lady call me up. Her name was Dr. Roberta Hamilton at UCLA. She was chief of biosciences, I guess. She said, Mr. Herer, I heard you on the radio last night, and I didn't know about paper, fiber, fuel, paint, varnish. And she was able to relay it all back to me. And I said, well, she says, you know, one thing that I teach in school for 40 years, but it's the #1 thing for essential fatty acids, and I didn't know what an essential fatty acid is. An essential fatty acid is an acid you must have to fight. That's what builds up your immune system. That is what is your immune system, to fight. An essential fatty acid is the most important vitamin or nutrient you get in your body from any food. The 2 highest foods in essential fatty acids on earth are hemp and flax. And then you have to go all the way down to fractions. I mean like 2%, 3% of hemp before you come up with the next food. And she was telling me, I've been reading this and teaching it to my students for 40 years at UCLA. And she said, it says illegal after by hemp seed. It says that in all the books. After it says hemp seed illegal, hemp seed illegal. hemp seed for essential fatty acids, which I didn't even know about. I said, this is amazing. I said, you mean that this is your best thing for your immune system on the entire earth? She said, there isn't even anything close. She said, now that I know it's got all these uses and it's not going to kill you, I really want to join your fight. She said, I put my doctorate on the line, everything. I've been at UCLA for over 40 years. I'm a professor emeritus at UCLA. She joined hemp as #1 protein on earth. And no protein, no more usable protein on earth than that. And the #1 essential fatty acid. Hemp and flax. Between hemp and flax, on the two parts of the essential fatty acid, you've got the most important thing. And then I should have to come out, I'm just a pothead. But in '73, I found this out, and I've been going out to people and teaching them, and wrote a book. 3 years ago in the United States, there were only 17 organizations in the United States equivalent to what Mike Moran and his group here has done. Today, there's over 500 and maybe even 1,000 organizations going throughout the country. They used to have 5 and 10 members, they have 100 and 200 and 300. You go out and you pass out this information. You're not going to get it, you lose a job, forget it. All the businesses, once everybody or enough people know this, once the 100th monkey level is reached, you're going to win. But you're not going to win until you put your ass on the line for something really worth putting your ass on the line. And that's for good old pot, for paper, fiber, fuel, medicine, and to live longer, feel better, hear music in color, have the best sex you ever had in your life, and everything else. And that's pot. I'll take it.
You were going to say something about that dealer, that drug dealer, the argument. Remember before you got into your girlfriend? Saying about the refrigerator, musical refrigerator. Remember that changed your viewpoints, or you woke up and discovered this or that?
Say it again?
You had an argument with a drug dealer friend of yours.
Yes. Oh, I had about the first book I wrote.
Oh,
and he said it was a #9 read. He sold me, and I said it was a #6. We got in a big fight in the back of the paper bag. We wrote out an argument for pot on the 1 to 10 scale and rated it until we got up to the 8 scale, and then we found the difference between 8 and 8 1/4 was about just much between, but the difference between 3 and 7 wasn't that much. It was an argument about all the pot. And listen, I'm reading you wrong.
Just to ask a question, current price was there like $8 for a 1/4 ounce. That's
80?
Yes?
That's for shit. Well,
For
where
shit.
I'm from Johnstown area. That's for shit. Okay. What was it going for when you started smoking?
Wow. Well, you should ask him. I didn't start.
This is not an economics class.
Well, okay, I started smoking pot was $10 an ounce. But Acapulco was 20 to 25 to 35 an ounce.
I'll pay it.
$80 a pound. And you
$80 a pound.
$80 a brick. And they were so afraid that you'd never come back that they made all the bricks almost 3 pounds. Yes, sir, Bob. Back in the good old days.
Do you think if marijuana was legalized, do you think we'd have like Camel Life butt-ends or whatever, or like, you know?
Well, it would be different. You can always grow it in the backyard. You can always grow good pot if you
I mean,
want.
but if you grow it yourself, I mean, if it's legal, don't you think
If
it'd
it's
be
legal.
marketed?
Oh yeah, I don't care if it's marketed.
Well,
I don't think, as long as it doesn't take the right away from you to be able to grow your own. It's ridiculous to trust the government with anything. If they fucked up on pot as big as I think they have, and as big as I claim they have, that they had there's nobody, I never had anybody, from the Drug Enforcement Agency to scientists to medical doctors, refute a single word that I have laid out to you today. We have given them chance after chance. College at Gainesville, Florida last year, I did it with a medical doctor. He went to fight me on marijuana and all the dangers of drugs. He did not know about paper, fiber, fuel, food, paint, varnish, medicine, and all the rest of it. We spelled him out. He lost. He did not get a single vote from the whole audience. It was about 150, 200 people in Gainesville at the University of Florida.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.